Clicker games, idle games, incremental games, colossal waste of time. Whatever you want to call them, the fact is that this peculiar genre of games has, for some weird reason, garnered a lot of fans. The main mechanics in a so-called incremental game are clicking followed by waiting. In fact, clicking begets waiting, for without waiting, you cannot click. And thus I have just described a hefty majority of all the games that lie in this genre. And you might be wondering, well, what's the point? And I wouldn't blame you for that. But the fact is that these games feed an addiction to progression and growth that I, and many others, can't get enough of. Call me a gold digger if you want, but there's just something so satisfying about watching those numbers climb endlessly into the sky, as you silently wish that someday, you too will make more millions than there are people on this planet. Another thing that this genre has going for it is its unparalleled ability to force you into an existential crisis as you play. How long have I been playing this game? Where have the past 2 hours gone? What have I actually accomplished? Should probably do my homework. Maybe I should go to bed. Oh, my dog pooped on the floor again. I should have taken him out. It's 2 a.m. and I haven't even eaten dinner yet. So with that in mind, I've compiled a small list of my favorites that I've found so far. Please remember that this is my list and my favorites out of the games that I've actually played, so no hard feelings if I miss one of your favorites. And with that out of the way, let's get into the list. Number 5. Look, I know, I promise, Egg Inc. is the only mobile game on this entire list. Egg Inc. is about as transparent of a title as it gets. You own a farm full of chickens that produce eggs. But these aren't just any old eggs, no, at least not past the first leg of the game. Your chickens lay eggs that cure cancer, and they lay eggs that cause immortality, and they lay eggs that drive teleportation and time travel. Other than that, it's just like any other clicker or idle game on the market. But because this one is on mobile platforms only and doesn't require much actual thought or attention to play, this is the easiest to pick up and get addicted to. There isn't much to the game other than researching egg-laying technologies and genetic modifications, as well as buying the trucks with the shipping capacity to handle the incredible amount of eggs your chickens are laying. Additionally, you can unlock epic research, which costs golden eggs that you can get from the drones that fly over your farm, and these also happen to drop a significant amount of cash to help you along your way. Or you can get them from ads, or random delivery boxes, or daily login bonuses. I recommend maxing the hold to hatch research first so you don't have to break your phone screen to hatch more chickens. As income and progress slows, you can decide to prestige to start from the beginning again, but with a bonus to your income. This mechanic exists in many of the games in this genre, but of the ones on this list, Egg Inc.'s prestige mechanic is by far the most boring. You see, other games in this genre with prestige mechanics treat the prestige as a sort of currency that you can use to power up your numbers in interesting ways. But here it's literally just raw number increases, and that really harms it when it gets to late game. And finally, this game is a little on the side of bullshit when it comes to making you want to spend money, down to not even letting you have more than 2 hours of idle time without spending $5, which I did begrudgingly part with. And once you get to late game, the idle income is practically worthless anyway. However, I've spent so much time with this game that I just had to include it. And there's just something so magical about seeing hordes of chickens run across your farm to find their new home. Number 4. Galaxia is a fun, short little clicker game that you can actually beat within an hour or two of actually playing. This one was a little questionable to include though, since the idle elements are pretty much non-existent, but I found myself glued to the screen until I finally finished my task and it was time to go get lunch. It starts off innocently enough, with you in control of something like 1 duodecillion of the galaxy, with the goal of controlling exactly 100%. And once you finally reach that fabled 100% control, you can finally go get groceries and spend time with your family. All you're able to do at the start is mine a few resources, research a couple of sciences, and send a couple of probes to explore the galaxy for you. Eventually, you're able to send shuttles to colonize new planets, and later on, you're able to automate things by building factories. But it doesn't stop there. You can build factories upon factories upon factories. I'm talking about having factories that produce more factories that produce factories themselves. And it just keeps going. It's exactly as exponential as it sounds, and even though it's a very short experience, it's a great one if you're a fan of the genre, and a fun one to introduce newcomers to this ridiculous genre of games. Number 3. Have you ever wondered what it would be like if you were the Overmind from StarCraft, or maybe even Sarah Kerrigan? In control of millions upon billions upon trillions of... well, you get the point. In control of a whole lot of buggy, insecty, creaturey things? Well, imagine no longer, because Swarm Simulator gives you exactly that feeling. Kinda. In text-based format. Hey, I never said all of these games had graphics, okay? This genre's main focus is on numbers and the act of making them grow. So it's only natural that at least one game isn't adorned with pretty graphics and colors. But don't let the lack of visuals fool you. There's a surprising amount of depth hidden behind all these numbers, and the lack of graphics actually lets the developer focus on what's important: the actual gameplay. You start off with nothing but a pile of meat. With that meat, you create drones, which gather more meat so you can make more drones. Before long, you're able to create a queen, which costs drones, but they'll also create more drones for you. Then you spend queens to create nests, which create the queens, and eventually hive queens, which create hives, which create greater queens, which create nests, which create queens, which creates drones that gather meat. Remember Galaxia and the factories that build factory-building factories? Well, the same general concept applies here, but you also have to manage many other decisions, such as where to spend your larva, which territorial units to spend your meat on, and which spells to cast and when to maximize your output. And if all that wasn't enough, you can restart your game with the power of mutagen that you've earned through your ascension, which can either bolster your larva generation, your passive unit production, or any of your spells. There's a lot of planning and theory crafting that can go along with this game, and while I didn't play it quite as regularly as Egg Inc., it's hard to resist jumping on at least once a day to manage things and cast spells. Swarm Simulator actually kept me more than occupied over a couple of months, to the point where it might have become a little bit of a problem. Number 2. Clicker Heroes happens to be the first clicker/idle game that I ever truly got into. I can't remember how I found it, probably Newgrounds knowing me, but I was instantly hooked, and I eventually migrated my save to the official website and played it there for I don't even know how long. Eventually the game was released on Steam, and well, obviously I had to pick the game up again because I apparently didn't know any better. And then I got coworkers into it and... sorry guys. Clicker Heroes is simple on the surface, but it hides quite a bit of depth and mechanics that aren't immediately apparent or unlocked. The basic gameplay here isn't anything that you haven't seen before. You click to deal damage or let your idle guys do idle damage per second. But where this game really shines is in its prestige mechanics. Like Swarm Simulator, you can start the game over with a bonus that will let you progress faster, and you may trade in these bonuses for more interesting and specialized bonuses. These bonuses may include, but are not limited to, increased click damage, increased damage while idle, increased money earned while idle, increased money in general, cheaper level up costs, more prestige currency, less boss health, consult your doctor before use. And as if all that wasn't enough, there's a second layer of prestige that lets you restart all of that over for even more powerful form of prestige currency, and an even greater potential for speedy progression. It's a very addicting game that has the positive feedback loop nailed down to a dangerous degree. The only reason that I don't play it anymore is because of the existential crisis that I mentioned at the top of the video. I eventually got sick of all the time I was spending after each ascension to the point where I just had to make myself stop. But before that happened, I racked up almost 500 hours in it, and that's only counting Steam. Number 1. I know I'm probably gonna get a lot of flack for having this guy at the top of my list, but the elegance, simplicity, and writing of Space Plan sets it so far apart from the rest. Space Plan is another idle game that you can actually beat, and this one took me about half a day. I don't want to spoil too much, but I will say this. Space Plan's writing is humorous and delightful. The minimalistic graphics are easy to look at and very well done, and the game will give you a newfound appreciation for potatoes. If I say or show anything else about this game, I'll spoil it for you, and that's just not something I feel okay with doing. So please, if you haven't already, go and check this game out for yourself. There will be a link to this game and all the games that I've mentioned in this video in the description box below. So that was my list of my top 5 idle games. I sunk a lot of research into these games. You call that research? And I hope that even if you don't agree with the list, that you enjoyed the video. If I missed your favorite, please share it in the comment section below. I will warn you though that YouTube often likes to eat links. so just the name of the game should be enough. I mean, we all know how to Google, right? And hey, if you did like the video, please be sure to hit that like button on your way out. And if you haven't already, be sure to follow me on Twitter at ingeniousclown and hit that subscribe button for more awesome gaming content here in the future, and I will see you next time.